December, Manhattan. The city is locked in a freezing winter embrace, bustling with holiday shoppers and thick with the heavy hum of morning traffic. It is just before 7 a.m. outside the luxury Hilton Midtown Hotel on 6th Avenue. Executives in tailored suits rush through the revolving doors, their breaths fogging in the crisp air. Among them is Brian Thompson, the high-profile CEO of UnitedHealthcare, the largest healthcare provider in the United States. He is carrying a briefcase, completely unaware that his every movement is being watched through a cold, calculated gaze. From the shadows, a figure steps out. No hesitation, no trembling hands, just pure, terrifying focus. The stranger approaches Thompson from behind. In a split second, a suppressed pistol is raised. Thud, thud, the quiet, muffled cracks of gunfire tear through the morning air. Thompson collapses onto the pavement. The assassin's weapon jams, but he doesn't panic. With an eerie, robotic calmness, he clears the chamber, fires again, and ensures the job is done. Within seconds, the killer melts back into the concrete jungle, vanishing into the subway system, leaving behind a puddle of blood, a scattering of shell casings, and a nation about to descend into absolute chaos. For days, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the NYPD, and Federal Counterterrorism chased together. Taylor was at the trip. He left no fingerprints, avoided major facial recognition cameras, and moved like a trained recon soldier. America was terrified. Was this a foreign name? A corporate conspiracy? A professional confront killer? The truth, as it turned out, shocked the world far more than any picture ever did. Because when the mask was finally stripped away, the mastermind wasn't a hardened cartel hitman or a seasoned criminal. He was a brave 36-year-old fighting crime. Valedictorian of his own. Born into a man's world and possessing a mind so terrifying, organized that he had mapped out his entire escape on encrypted micro-devices. Tonight, we open the vault on Midnight Files to examine the chilling psychological descent of Luigi Mangione. To understand how a monster is made, we must first look at the vault. And by all additional accounts, Luigi Mangione was cast in gold. Born into an immensely prominent, wealthy, and deeply respected family in Maryland, Luigi's life was a masterclass in privilege and achievement. His grandfather was a highly successful real estate developer and philanthropist. The family name was plastered on university buildings and community centers. Luigi wasn't just rich. He was profoundly gifted. At Gilman School, an ultra-exclusive all-boys private preparatory academy in Baltimore, Luigi was nothing short of a superstar. He wasn't the quiet outcast lurking in the back of the classroom. He was charismatic. He was the varsity football player. He was the track athlete. He was a member of the chess club. And when graduation day arrived, he stood before his peers as the class valedictorian, delivering a speech about leadership, bright futures, and changing the world. His trajectory only went upward from there. Luigi was accepted into the prestigious University of Pennsylvania, an elite Ivy League institution. There, he pursued a highly rigorous dual-degree program, earning both his bachelor's and master's degrees in computer science in just 4 years. Professors described him as exceptionally bright, a coding prodigy who understood complex algorithms with ease. His peers saw him as a friendly, reliable guy who loved fitness, reading dense philosophical texts, and hosting social gatherings. He secured high-paying tech jobs in San Francisco and Hawaii. He was making 6 figures before his 24th birthday. He had the world at his feet. But beneath this flawlessly polished veneer, a quiet, dark rot was beginning to set in. A psychological shift was occurring, unnoticed by his family, hidden behind his brilliant smile and academic accolades. Luigi Mangione was beginning to lose his grip on the very society he had been groomed to lead. Every dark descent has a catalyst. For Luigi, It wasn't a sudden traumatic event, but rather a slow, agonizing transformation fueled by chronic pain and existential isolation. Sometime around 2022, Luigi began suffering from severe, debilitating back pain. For an avid athlete and fitness enthusiast, this was a devastating blow. He underwent surgeries, saw top-tier specialists, and spent thousands of dollars trying to fix his body, but the pain wouldn't stop. It became a constant, agonizing white noise in his brain. As his physical body fractured, his mind turned inward, seeking answers in the darkest corners of political and philosophical thought. Luigi began consuming radical, anti-establishment literature. He became deeply obsessed with the works of Ted Kaczynski, the notorious Unabomber, reading texts that argued modern technological society and corporate infrastructure were actively destroying human souls and bodies. He began writing his own thoughts down, filling journals with dense, aggressive prose. He stopped communicating with his family, abruptly cutting off his childhood friends. He quit his lucrative tech job, packed his bags, and vanished into the transient world of hostels and short-term rentals. To the outside world, Luigi Mangione had simply dropped off the grid to find himself. In reality, he was preparing for a war. His journals took on a terrifyingly specific target: the American healthcare system. In his mind, corporate entities weren't just businesses. They were literal parasites, bleeding the American public dry, denying life-saving care to the sick, while executives lined their pockets with millions of dollars in bonuses. Luigi's pain was no longer just a medical issue. It was a symptom of a corrupt system. And he decided that the system needed to bleed. He didn't want to just protest. He wanted to execute a symbol. And that symbol was Brian Thompson. This brings us back to that fateful December morning in Manhattan. Luigi's preparation for the attack was chillingly meticulous. He didn't buy a weapon on the black market. He used his advanced computer engineering skills to construct components of a firearm using 3D printing technology, outfitting it with a sophisticated silencer to ensure maximum stealth. He traveled to New York using fake identification, staying in a low-end hostel, blending in seamlessly with the thousands of backpackers and tourists flooding the city. On December 4th, he knew exactly where Brian Thompson would be. Thompson was scheduled to attend UnitedHealthcare's annual investor conference at the Hilton. Luigi arrived early, waiting in the freezing shadows, tracking his target. When Thompson walked toward the hotel, Luigi struck. The footage captured by nearby security cameras is deeply disturbing, not because of its violence, but because of its sheer, cold efficiency. When the gun jammed after the first two shots, a normal person would have panicked, dropped the weapon, or fled. But Luigi's Ivy League brain processed the mechanical failure like a computer resolving a line of bad code. He stepped back, cleared the jam with practiced ease, retargeted the fallen executive, and pulled the trigger until the job was complete. He didn't run away frantically. He walked away with a steady, metered stride, fading into the subway. Before the first police sirens could even echo down 6th Avenue, the hunt for the ghost had officially begun. But as the NYPD scrambled to find clues, they discovered something bizarre left behind at the crime scene. Written on the copper shell casings left in the snow were 3 distinct, handwritten words: delay, deny, and defend. The exact, infamous internal corporate strategy used by insurance companies to avoid paying out medical claims to dying patients. This wasn't just a murder. It was a message. The execution of Brian Thompson triggered one of the most intense heist manhunts in modern American history. Within hours, the NYPD, the FBI, and federal counterterrorism task forces swarmed Midtown Manhattan. A digital dragnet was cast across the city. Investigators began harvesting thousands of hours of high-definition surveillance footage from street corners, subways, and private businesses. Yet, the killer seemed to know exactly how to defeat the system. He navigated the urban labyrinth with surgical precision, staying clear of major facial recognition cameras and keeping his face masked at all times. The first breakthrough came when investigators tracked the assassin's escape route to a local bus terminal. He had boarded a Greyhound bus bound for Pennsylvania. Paying for his ticket in cash and using a fraudulent identity card, the FBI released high-resolution still images of his face captured at a hostile checkpoint prior to the shooting. The public was transfixed. Law enforcement received thousands of tips, ranging from paranoid sightings to dead ends. The entire nation was looking for a ghost. Rumors swirled that the killer was an international professional, perhaps a corporate hitman hired by a rival firm or an elite military operative. No one suspected that America's most wanted fugitive was currently sitting quietly in a public space, carrying a heavily encrypted laptop and a loaded firearm, completely convinced that he was a revolutionary hero. 5 days after the trigger was pulled in Manhattan, the grand illusion of the perfect crime came crashing down in the most mundane location imaginable, a McDonald's restaurant in Altoona, Pennsylvania. It was a cold Monday morning. Luigi Mangione walked into the establishment wearing a heavy coat and carrying a tactical backpack. He sat down near the window, quietly eating his food, completely unaware that his run was about to end. An alert employee noticed something unsettling about the quiet customer. Despite the medical mask covering most of his face, the employee recognized the distinct structure of his eyes and his unique, boyish smile from the FBI Most Wanted posters plastering the news. The worker didn't hesitate. They quietly stepped into the back room and dialed emergency services. Local police officers arrived within minutes. They approached Luigi cautiously, asking for his identification. True to his meticulous nature, Luigi handed them a fake New Jersey driver's license. But when the officers pressed him for his real name, his calm exterior finally fractured. He began to sweat, his eyes darting toward his backpack. The officers ordered him to stand up, conducted a search, and handcuffed him. When federal agents opened his backpack, they found a treasure trove of incriminating evidence. Inside was the actual silencer used in the murder, a 3D printed firearm, thousands of dollars in cash, and a handwritten manifesto. The golden boy of the Ivy League had been captured, not by elite federal agents through complex cyber tracking, but by a fast food worker who simply paid attention. With Luigi Mangione in federal custody, the FBI began analyzing the chilling contents of his handwritten manifesto. The document offered a terrifying, unfiltered look into a highly intelligent mind that had completely unraveled into ideological extremism. Luigi didn't view himself as a murderer. In his own words, he viewed himself as an executioner acting on behalf of a suffering public. The manifesto was a scathing, articulate attack on corporate greed and the American medical infrastructure. Luigi wrote extensively about how major corporations profit off human agony, explicitly calling out healthcare executives as parasites who systematically deny life-saving treatments to maximize profit margins. He claimed that his actions were completely justifiable, arguing that when a system becomes entirely corrupt and peaceful options fail, violent resistance becomes a moral obligation. Investigators were stunned by the clinical, unemotional tone of his writings. This wasn't the rambling of an uneducated lunatic. It was a structured, philosophical argument for domestic terrorism written by a computer science prodigy. As the details of the manifesto leaked to the press, the case took an even darker, more unexpected turn. It ceased to be just a true crime story. It became a cultural wildfire. The arrest of Luigi Mangione did not bring the sense of closure the authorities expected. Instead, it exposed a deep, fractured vein within modern society. On internet forums, social media platforms, and news comment sections, a deeply controversial phenomenon began to emerge. While mainstream media condemned the brutal assassination, thousands of everyday citizens began expressing a twisted form of sympathy for the killer. Memes proliferated. Internet subcultures praised his anti-establishment stance, and debates erupted over the ethics of corporate healthcare. For many who had lost loved ones due to denied medical claims, Luigi's extreme actions resonated as a dark, vigilante response to a system they felt oppressed by. He became a symbol of a radicalized generation. Ultimately, Luigi Mangione transitioned from the ultimate success story to the ultimate cautionary tale. A young man who possessed every advantage, brilliance, and an Ivy League education, yet chose to walk a path of blood and shadow. He now faces a lifetime behind bars, leaving behind a ruined family, a dead executive, and a nation left to debate the terrifying boundary between a desperate cry for justice and cold-blooded murder. Thank you for stepping into the vault with us tonight. If you want to uncover more dark truths and hidden cases, make sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and leave a comment below. What do you think truly pushed Luigi over the edge? Until next time, keep your eyes on the shadows. This is Midnight Files, signing off.